But in the Muslim village, our women will be women, and our men will be men. Is that not beneficial? Allah's Messenger said, do not prevent the woman from coming to the masjid. Did he say so, yes or no? If she chooses to perform her salat at home, she has the freedom to do so. She's got babies to take care of. She gets the same amount of blessings whether she performs salat at home or in the masjid. The choice is hers. But the men must perform salat in the masjid. And so in the village, if we have 200 families, Fajr salat in the masjid, you're going to have, what, 250 men? Huh? Did you hear me? Because the men have to go to the masjid. You walk into the masjid. What a wonderful masjid that would be, for Fajr salat, 250 people. If you're saying your salat at home and you're a man, what's wrong? Why aren't you in the masjid? Because it's walking distance. But a woman can perform her salat at home, or she can come to the masjid. That's the sunnah. Okay. What is the sunnah? When she comes to the masjid, I am asking you, what is the sunnah when she comes to the masjid? Where does she sit? What is the sunnah? Shall we put her upstairs? Shall we put her in an annex? Or shall we put the masjid side by side? Put men on one side, put the women on the other side. Put a partition in between. What is the sunnah? If you are Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, I am asking you, what is the sunnah? And if the sunnah is lost, should we not bring it back? Allah's Messenger said, Sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, the hadith is in Sahih Muslim. It's still there. The best row, saf means row. The best row for the men is the first. So when a man enters the masjid, he don't have choice where to go. You've got to go in the first row. And when the first row is filled, only then do you go to the second row. And when the second is filled, only then do you go to the third row. You don't spread out. And he said, the worst row for the man is the last row. Shar, meaning dangerous. What is the danger in the last row? Huh? Can anybody answer that question? If you put the women in the annex, or you put them upstairs, or better than that, you throw them out of the masjid. Get out! No woman in this masjid! Get out! I raised my voice. We went to Tobago last weekend with Sheikh Ali Mustafa. While I was in Tobago, Brother Faiz Amin told me the story. His sister went into a masjid right here in Trinidad to perform salat. And she went to the back of the masjid. The Messenger of Allah said, the best row for the woman is the last row. And so when a woman goes to the masjid, she goes to the last row. She has no option. And she's in the best row. And when the last row is filled up, then she goes to the second to last. And this is precisely what she did. And while she was standing in prayer, a senior member of the management of that masjid came up in front of her and started shouting at her, "Get out of this masjid! Get out of this masjid! Get out of this masjid! We don't want women in this masjid!" Now do you see why we need to build a Muslim village? She did the right thing. But they threw her out of the masjid. So she continued with her salat until she finished. But the man didn't stop. Even when she finished and she was leaving the masjid, he kept on shouting at her, "Get out of the masjid!" If you're comfortable with that kind of Islam, then you have eyes but you can't see. You have ears but you can't hear. You have hearts but you cannot understand. But he said that the worst row for the woman, the one which is most dangerous, is the first. Why? What's the danger for the last row for the man and the danger for the first row for the woman? What's the danger? If you take plywood and you put up a barrier, where is the danger? Take your plywood and put up a barrier and a man. Where is the danger? The danger is you have changed the religion. This is not the religion that the Prophet left, alayhi salatu wasalam. Because she is now deprived of seeing the Imam as he stands on the mimbar to give the khutbah. You have deprived her of that right that she had in the time of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, that she had in the time of his companions. And so in the Muslim village, we seek to restore to the Muslim woman every right that Allah and His Messenger gave to her. Is that not beneficial? Around the world today, brothers and sisters, there's war on Islam. If you're in France, you can't go to school with hijab. I drive on the roads of Trinidad, and when school over, I see the pretty sight. I see so many schoolgirls, Indian and African, in hijab. And I say, praise be to Allah. But in France, that's not allowed. You'll be thrown out of school. And what is happening in France today is going to happen in the rest of the world tomorrow. It's coming. It is a war on Islam. The intention is to break your faith. The intention is to ensure that you lose Islam. How do we preserve Islam? Answer is you've got to establish it. You cannot simply teach and preach. You have to establish Islam. We cannot establish Islam today, anywhere on the face of the earth, as a state, with control over government. Impossible. Because those who control the world would not allow it. All right. If the macro is not possible, is the micro possible? That is the philosophy of the Muslim village. That it is impossible to establish Islam at the macro level until Imam al-Mahdi arises. But if you differ with me, go ahead and try. If we cannot establish Islam at the macro level, do we have any excuse before Allah for not establishing it at micro level? If you attempt to establish it at the micro level, it must be remote, so it does not pose a threat to their godless world. وَإِذِ اعْتَزَلْتُمُوهُمْ, says Allah in Surah Al-Kahf. When you turn away from them, وَإِذِ اعْتَزَلْتُمُوهُمْ وَمَا يَعْبُدُونَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ, and you turn away from their godlessness, فَأُوا إِلَى الْكَهْفِ,